Close your eyes for a second and try to imagine this. You're sitting alone in a completely silent room. No voices, no traffic, no music, not even the sound of someone breathing, just you and the stillness. Then you take a bite of a crispy cracker. That's it, just one bite. But suddenly, the sound explodes in your head like a movie theater speaker blasting bass right next to your ear. What you're hearing is the sound of your own chewing. And believe it or not, it's the loudest sound you'll ever hear in the entire universe, at least in your universe. It's not that the sound is actually loud like 100 decibels from a speaker. No, it feels loud because it comes from inside you. Your bones, your skull, and the whole structure of your body, they act like a built-in sound system. The sound doesn't just travel through the air into your ears. It travels from your jaw, through your bones, directly into your inner ear. It's like listening to yourself chew through a subwoofer in your brain. Scientists call this phenomenon bone conduction, a unique way of hearing sound through vibrations in your bones instead of just through the air. That's why your chewing feels so loud, even if the actual decibel level is nothing extreme. It also explains why people are often shocked when they hear their voice in a recording, because the sound we're used to every day is filtered through our skull. But here's what makes it even cooler. You're not just the listener in this scenario. You're the sound source, too. And this experience, this ridiculously loud crunch you hear when you bite down, is something no one else will ever hear the same way. Because the sound of you chewing will always be the loudest sound in your universe and yours alone. The human body is more complex and honestly more fascinating than most of us give it credit for, especially when it comes to something as simple yet strangely intimate as the sound we hear from ourselves. Scientists have a name for this phenomenon: bone conduction. It's the process where sound travels not through the air, but directly through your bones. Yep, you heard that right. Your own skeleton becomes the sound system, bypassing the outside world entirely. When you chew or speak, those vibrations start in the jaw, bounce off your teeth, echo through your skull, and head straight into your inner ear. No filters, no room acoustics, no wind, no environment, just pure, raw, internal sound. It's like listening to yourself through a subwoofer that's wired directly into your brain. That's why your voice always sounds so weird when you hear it recorded. Because the voice you think you know, that voice lives inside your bones, not outside in the world. And here's the crazy part. No one else will ever hear your chewing, your speaking, or your internal hum the same way you do. It's an incredibly personal experience, like a secret soundtrack meant for your ears only. Sounds poetic, right? It's not. It can be super annoying. Now imagine this. You're an astronaut floating in a spacecraft. No outside noise, no wind, no people, just absolute silence. And then you take a bite of a crunchy cracker. Crunch! Suddenly, that one bite becomes a thunderstorm echoing through your skull. There's no escape, no volume button, no one to share it with. That's why many astronauts actually prefer liquid meals in space, because that intense, isolated crunch powered by bone conduction can shatter your focus like nothing else. Sometimes the loudest sounds in the universe come from within you. Why do other people's chewing sounds drive us crazy, but ours don't? Have you ever sat down for a meal with someone, only to be instantly annoyed by the crunch, crunch, crunch of their chewing? So loud it makes you want to drop your fork and walk away? But then, when you chew, making pretty much the same sound, it doesn't seem that loud, right? This isn't just a matter of table manners. It actually goes deep into how our brains are wired. Psychologists say that our brains are masters at filtering sounds, especially when the sound comes from our own body. Your brain recognizes your own sounds as familiar, safe, and non-threatening, so it tunes them out or softens them automatically, kind of like how you never really notice your own heartbeat unless you focus on it. Your brain mutes it to keep you sane. But sounds from other people, especially unexpected ones that you can't control, your brain switches into alert mode. It starts scanning for danger or disruption. And if that sound happens to be repetitive, unpredictable, like chewing, slurping, or heavy breathing, your brain flags it as annoying noise. Then it magnifies your irritation without you even realizing it. There's even a scientific name for this: misophonia, a condition where certain sounds, especially things like chewing or pen clicking, trigger an intense emotional reaction. It doesn't mean you're being dramatic. It means your nervous system is hypersensitive to those specific triggers. So two people can be sitting at the same table, eating the same meal, and having totally different experiences. One hears nothing unusual, while the other feels like a jackhammer is going off in their skull. This is why living together, or even just eating together, sometimes requires more empathy than logic. Even if someone doesn't mean to chew loudly, the sound can still feel like needles to the brain of the person next to them. So, if you're a loud chewer and your partner starts raising their eyebrows every time you pick up a chip, maybe consider switching to soft foods for the sake of peace. After all, relationships are built on understanding, and sometimes silence really is golden. Society and the sound of chewing. Did we make up the rules of silence? Have you ever noticed that just the sound of someone chewing can tell you what kind of culture you're in? In Japan, eating quietly is a basic form of etiquette taught from a young age. Loud chewing or slurping isn't just seen as impolite, it's almost a sign of disrespect to the person who prepared the meal. It's viewed as a lack of self-control, a public display of poor manners. But travel across the continent to places like China or South Korea, and things flip completely. There, slurping your noodles loudly is a compliment. It's a way to say, "This food is so good, I can't help myself." In fact, many chefs feel proud when they hear customers slurp. It means they've done a great job. So which one is correct? The truth is, there's no right or wrong. There are only cultural rules we've collectively agreed upon. What's considered respectful in one country might seem rude in another. Over time, we absorb these norms until they feel natural, like universal truth, when in fact, they're anything but. And here's the contradiction of being human. While some people are annoyed by chewing, slurping, or loud spoon noises, others find them deeply satisfying. You've probably seen or stumbled across ASMR videos on YouTube, those close-up clips of people eating crunchy food, slurping noodles, or tapping utensils softly. Some of these videos have millions of views. Why? Because for some people, those same annoying sounds help them relax, or even fall asleep. Yes, the exact same sound that drives one person up the wall is another person's version of bedtime therapy. Humans are just that diverse. What's irritating to one might be comfort to another. What feels like noise to you might feel like home to someone else. So in the end, it's not about whether a sound is loud or soft, right or wrong. It's about whose ears are listening and whose heart is feeling. In the end, the voice inside your head is yours alone. If we look deeper through the lens of psychology, that loud crunching noise you hear in your head when you chew, it's not just a sound. It's the sound of existence. A subtle reminder that you are still you, with a body, with breath, with motion, with life that's still moving forward. It's not a sound coming from the outside. It's not a noise the world is telling you to hear. It's a sound born from within, like a quiet signal saying, "Hey, you're still here." In a world that spins too fast, where every external noise fights for our attention, ads, notifications, engines, chatter, we rarely get a moment to truly hear ourselves anymore. But that chewing sound, it never leaves. It stays with us. It's not pretty, it's not musical, but it's honest and real. It never fakes it. It doesn't try to impress. It doesn't care if anyone else understands. It's yours and yours alone. Maybe, just maybe, it's the only sound in the universe that whispers, "You're still here." On days when you feel alone, when the world's noise gets too loud, pause, breathe, take a bite of something crunchy and listen. Don't mute it. Don't get annoyed. Just listen. Because it might not be just a crunch. It might be the sound of life itself, gently reminding you, you're still breathing, you still matter,